All right, let's talk about the Georgia Bulldogs, a still undefeated, reigning two-time national champion, odds-on favorite to win the national champion again this year. They look like one of the most complete, most dominating teams in college football. But like any great program, they don't rest on their laurels. It looks like the Georgia Bulldogs are positioning themselves to go after a big-time recruit who was previously committed but potentially looks vulnerable. Could be a huge get for the Georgia Bulldogs. Let's go ahead and throw up the report from the Yard Barker, and I will read from it. All right, Xavier Filsaime, the five-star safety prospect from McKinney, Texas, has only been committed to the Florida Gators since April. That's a long time, of course. That's a decent amount of time in the real world, but on the recruiting trail, it's the blink of an eye. 6 months ago also feels like a blip on the radar when a program like the Texas Longhorns comes calling, especially for a recruit from the state of Texas. The Longhorns aren't the only ones trying to flip the Florida commit, though. According to Jerry Hamilton of On3, the back-to-back college football playoff national champion Georgia Bulldogs are also in the hunt. In the case of Filsaime, Texas isn't the only school making a push, Hamilton reported. Georgia is also turning up the heat here a little this season. Georgia is the team nationally, and everyone else is competing for second. Filsaime took official visits to Florida and Georgia over the summer, so the interest in UGA is clearly there. Texas just took a tough loss to Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry, but Sarkisian is clearly building a contender down in Austin. It'll be interesting to see if he can get Filsaime on campus sometime this season. So I'm going to focus again, the meat on the story there kind of sandwiched in the middle is the fact that the Georgia Bulldogs are turning up the heat and going after this prospect who obviously is an elite playmaker, an elite athlete. And there's the point right there, what we're seeing, and it was mentioned in this report, the Georgia Bulldogs national level program. They're not just winning the Smoky Mountain corridor, North Georgia, the Smoky Mountains, the eastern part of Tennessee, the upstate of the Carolina region. They're not just competing across the entire Southeast. They're a national power now. We know how good they're recruiting locally. They're expanding that to the national footprint, and I think they've got a great chance to flip this recruit. Mize, I'm curious what your thoughts are on there, but before I hand it over to you, Georgia, you guys obviously have Vandy this weekend. I'm hoping for a close game just because I want to see some good football. Do I think it's going to happen? Not really, but give us your opinion. What do you think of the final score will be? Bulldogs versus Commodores this weekend in the comment section below. Brian Mize, what you got? What are your thoughts on this potential big flip? I think there's a good chance of it happening here from the Bulldogs program.
Yeah, Nick, and you got to look at recency bias. Texas, good school, but I think Georgia, they've had a lot of top guys going to NFL, especially in the DB and safety region. We most notably think about Lewis Cine. That's a guy playing for the Vikings, I believe, looking really good. So you got to think when top level players are leaving your school, going to the NFL, college kids going into college, they notice those type of things. They've seen how many absolutely dominating first round picks Georgia's put off on the defensive side of the ball lately. And that's the ultimate goal nowadays, to make it to the NFL. So when you got a guy like Filsaime, he's coming in, he's one of the top prospects in all the country. He's thinking to himself, where can I go to play my best ball, to get my best chance at getting a shot at the big dance? That would be Georgia. Now, Texas, fine program. We're not going to discount them here. They're very good as well. But Georgia's just better. Back-to-back national champions, looking like they're going to be the team to beat again this year. You can't argue with that because at the end of the day, this guy's most likely not going to win a college football playoff title at Texas. He's going to win one at Georgia if he goes there. I mean, if we're betting, I'd put all my money on Georgia over Texas right now. They're definitely looking like they're the favorites, and they don't look like they have any intention of slowing down. This is supposed to be Georgia's down year, and they just come off of a complete shellacking of Kentucky. And, as a team, they can take away what you're best at. We look at Kentucky, their running back ran for 280 yards versus Florida the previous week. Come against Georgia, hold the guy to 59 yards. I mean, this is a team that can do it all, and they do it very well on the defensive side of the ball. Filsaime, he sees that, he knows that, and he knows just how much he can contribute to a team like this, Nick. So I think, no-brainer, it's got to be really competitive. Georgia's got to be really high on his radar.
Well, look at the timing of this, right? I always look at the timing of reports like this. Who does Georgia play in about 2.5 weeks now, on the 20th of October? The Florida Gators, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, who, sidebar, by the way, been to that event one time, need to go back again. It's an awesome event. Absolutely loved it. Georgia fans are absolutely great. Florida fans were great too. Fantastic atmosphere. Just a great environment to watch college football. But again, you're going to see Georgia play Florida in about 2.5 weeks, right? You better believe Filsaime's watching that game, and likely Georgia's going to win about 40-3. Let's be honest, Florida doesn't look very good this year. So when do you plant the seeds to flip a commit? Do you wait till after the moment, after the big win? No, you do it now. You start going after recruiting him harder now, trying to talk to him about maybe changing his commitment, keeping Georgia on his mind. And this kid, high school kid, he's sitting there's like, oh, Georgia's calling me. They're really good. Florida's not looking so hot. Think about it for a few weeks, get some calls from the position coaches, and then you watch Georgia obliterate Florida one Saturday, and you're like, yeah, maybe I do want to flip my commitment. Smart timing also plays a big role in this. Good recruiting wins you national titles. Strategy, X's and O's, it's important. I'm not saying it's not. Developing players is extremely important as well. Strength and conditioning, all of that. But we all know, right? This is what Kirby Smart was brought in to do, coming from Nick Saban. I truly believe this, right? You can look at the X's and O's, you can look at other things, but they needed someone who could out recruit Alabama to surpass Alabama. And Kirby Smart in this program figured it out. That's why they're right now at the mountaintop of college football. When they make a move, a recruiting move, it's usually set up not just on a whim. It's not set up as something just, hey, let's go after this kid. It's set up with a clear strategy in mind. And I think the timing of targeting this kid right now is a sure sign of that. This may be the best program on the field, but they're also the best program in terms of getting talent as well. And Georgia fans, you should be excited because of that.